think that he knows what he's talking about, and that's when he's able to share facts randomly and very quickly from the top of his head in such a manner that makes you think, wow, he is a really intelligent man. But a friend of mine sat down and went through a 5-minute talk of his once, and in that 5 minutes he was able to make over 25 mistakes.
Haleluya, haleluya, Shalom alaikum HABAGET, salam Aki. Aku kabarkan Injil keselamatan. Bapak Ibu kasih Tuhan, ketemu lagi dengan saya Evangelis Avraham Effendi Usman. Bagaimana kabar Bapak Ibu semuanya? Tentunya luar biasa. Dan saudaraku para pecinta Chanel Injil HABAGET, tidak ada yang tidak kenal seorang Zakir Naik, di mana Zakir Naik ini dianggap pembela Islam, dianggap pahlawan Islam oleh kebanyakan, bahkan oleh umumnya orang Islam sendiri. Dia dianggap sebagai pahlawan Islam. Padahal apa yang dia sampaikan selama ini itu semuanya banyak bohongnya Bapak Ibu. Ya, itu sudah ada orang-orang dia yang ditempatkan di pojok-pojok di mana dia bikin event. Saya maksud di sini adalah event tentang tanya jawab mengenai iman. Bahkan banyak orang bilang dalam perdebatan, dalam diskusi ya, itu sudah ada orang-orang dia yang ditempatkan di pojok-pojok tertentu Bapak Ibu. Nanti orang itu akan angkat tangan ketika ada soal tanya jawab. Nah, orang itu bertanya seolah-olah benar-benarlah penanya tersebut adalah yang beragama Kristen. Padahal orang Zakir Naik sendiri yang sudah ditempatkan di tempat-tempat tertentu, saudara. Nah, akhirnya Zakir Naik menjawab dan orang tersebut langsung secepat kilat bersyahadat. Bayangkan Bapak Ibu, orang yang dari kecil, ini saya mengajak saudara semuanya untuk berpikir dengan akal yang sehat, berpikir dengan jernih, dan berpikir secara kritis. Orang itu dari kecil sudah Kristen, orang tuanya Kristen, lalu dewasa pun Kristen, remaja dia Kristen, dewasa Kristen. Pada suatu hari dia bertemu dengan Zakir Naik. Nah, saat bertemu dengan Zakir Naik, terjadilah tanya jawab di ceramahnya atau di khotbahnya atau di pidatonya Zakir Naik. Lalu selesai dia bertanya, Zakir Naik menjawab. Selesai Zakir Naik menjawab, langsung si penanya tersebut bersyahadat masuk Islam. Masuk akal kira-kira Bapak Ibu? Tidak akan masuk akal. Tidak mungkin orang bisa berubah imannya dalam waktu sekejap. Itu tidak mungkin. Tidak mungkin seseorang imannya itu bisa berubah dalam waktu sekejap. Itu butuh waktu berhari-hari untuk orang itu berpikir, baru berani orang tersebut berubah imannya, mengubah kepercayaannya. Nah Bapak Ibu, kali ini kita akan menayangkan Zakir Naik kedapatan kesalahan yang luar biasa yang ditemukan oleh pakar Islamologi. Bagaimana cuplikan videonya? Langsung saja kita melihat, saudaraku.
There's one thing about Zakir Naik that makes people really think that he knows what he's talking about, and that's when he's able to share facts randomly and very quickly from the top of his head in such a manner that makes you think, wow, he is a really intelligent man. But a friend of mine sat down and went through a 5-minute talk of his once, and in that 5 minutes he was able to make over 25 mistakes.
Charles Darwin went on an island by the name of Calotropis.
There is no such island as the Calotropis Islands anywhere. It was actually the Galapagos Islands that Darwin visited, where he found finches.
And there he found birds pecking at niches.
These finches do not peck at niches, as Naik says. They lived in separate ecological niches.
Depending upon the ecological niches they pecked, the beak kept on becoming long and short.
The differences Darwin observed between these finches were far more than simply beak length. They included differences in color, size, mating behavior, songs, and preferred food.
This observation was made in the same species, not in different species.
Darwin's observations of varying beaks were made on 14 different species of finches, not just one, as Dr. Naik claims. The beak length actually did not vary within the species.
Charles Darwin wrote a letter to his friend Thomas Compton.
All of Darwin's published correspondence is printed and even available electronically online. and it contains no record of anyone named Thomas Thrompton.
Charles Darwin himself said that there were missing links. He didn't agree with it.
Darwin admitted that there were missing links, but that does not mean he disagreed with his own theory. He simply predicted where the missing links would be found.
The reason is because that if you analyze the church was against science previously.
The church was never against science. Almost all the great European scientists of Galileo's time, including Galileo, were devout Christians. People like Newton, Copernicus, Kepler, Boyle, Linnaeus, Pascal were all committed believers in the Bible.
And you know the incident that they sentenced Galileo to death.
Galileo, a devout Catholic, was never sentenced to death. He was sentenced to life imprisonment on June 22nd, 1633, and then that sentence was commuted to house arrest. He died more than 8 years later on the evening of January 8th, 1642, of old age. Galileo believed that his theories fit with the Bible, and he wrote a book arguing this based on early interpretations of Christians like Augustine. Naik goes on to make the same false statement 2 more times, but let's only count it as one factual error.
So all the scientists, most of them, they support the theory because it went against the Bible, not because it was true.
Actually, most scientists did not support Darwin's theory for many years, and most of these same scientists revered the Bible. Basically, this account by Dr. Naik is a total fabrication.
All the sages, Lucy, there were 4 hominids.
Everything Dr. Naik says here is wrong. There is no such word as hominites. He must mean hominids.
Science tells us that there are 4 hominids.
There are not a mere 4 hominids. There are at least 14.
First is Lucy, along with its guide, the Australopithecus.
There is no such hominid as Dasnopithecus. Lucy was an Australopithecus afarensis,
which died about 3.5 million years, the Ice Age.
The Ice Age was not 3 1/3 million years ago. It was between 1.6 million years and 10,000 years ago.
Then next came the Homo sapiens, who died about 500,000 years ago.
Homo sapiens did not die out 500,000 years ago. You and I, and even Zakir Naik, are Homo sapiens.
Then came the Neanderthal man.
According to evolutionary theory, Neanderthal man was not on the direct line to modern man, but an Ice Age offshoot.
The Neanderthal man, who died 100 to 40,000 years ago.
Neanderthal man went extinct 30,000 years ago, not 100 to 40,000 years ago.
Then came the 4th stage, the Cro-Magnon.
Cro-Magnon man is the same thing as Homo sapiens, which Naik had mentioned as a different earlier species.
There is no link at all between these stages.
Actually, evolutionary biologists have found many examples of what they claim to be links between these stages. For example, Homo habilis, Homo ergaster, and Homo heidelbergensis.
If you know of Sir Albert Georgi, who got the Nobel Prize for inventing the vitamin C.
Georgi didn't invent vitamin C, he discovered it. Vitamin C is a naturally occurring substance that doesn't need to be invented.
He wrote a book, The Crazy Ape and Man, against Darwin's theory.
Albert said Georgi's book was not called The Crazy Ape and Man, but simply The Crazy Ape, and it was not a refutation of evolution, but a sociological commentary.
If you know about Rupert Albert, this person wrote a new theory of evolution against Darwin's theory.
Who is Rupert Albert? I can find no trace of anybody with that name.
From the apes. If you know of Sir Frank Salisbury, he was a biologist.
Naik quotes one unknown person after another. Who is Sir Frank Salisbury? Again, vigorous searching can find no trace of anybody with that name. But to give Naik the benefit of the doubt, this will not be counted as a factual error.
If you know about white meat, Sir White Meat.
White meat? Who is Sir White Meat? For the 4th time, no trace can be found of anybody with this name.
At lower levels, an amoeba, at lower species level, amoeba can change to paramecia.
There is no such thing as paramecia. Perhaps he means paramecium, but the evolutionary change of an amoeba to a paramecium is far more dramatic biologically than the relatively small biological difference between apes and humans.
According to Francis Crick, who's authority in this field, he said it is unimaginable.
There is no such person as Francis Crick. Naik probably means Francis Crick, the co-discoverer of DNA. Francis Crick believes fully in evolution.
Nah, saudaraku semuanya, para pecinta Chanel Injil HABAGET, bagaimana tanggapan saudara semua setelah melihat cuplikannya video yang baru saja saya putarkan? Nah, Bapak Ibu, ini adalah zaman internet, zaman di mana terbuka. Tidak ada yang bisa disembunyikan. Walaupun ada yang disembunyikan, lambat laun apa yang disembunyikan itu akan terbongkar semuanya ya. Publik akan menilai, publik akan jadi tahu bagaimana Zakir Naik selama ini. Ternyata sudah lama sekali dia berbohong. Cuma banyak orang yang tidak jeli. Karena asik dengan tepuk tangan. Seolah-olah si Zakir Naik ini benarlah pahlawan yang diharapkan oleh saudara kita umat Islam. Ternyata dia adalah penipu ulung. Saudaraku, saya teringat di dalam kitab Injil Yohanes 8 ayat 44. Iblislah yang menjadi bapamu dan kamu ingin melakukan keinginan-keinginan bapamu. Ia adalah pembunuh manusia sejak semula dan tidak hidup dalam kebenaran, sebab di dalam dia tidak ada kebenaran. Apabila ia berkata dusta, ia berkata atas kehendaknya sendiri, sebab ia adalah pendusta dan bapa segala dusta. Jadi saudaraku, kita sudah tahu, seseorang yang tidak tinggal di dalam kebenaran, apalagi orang itu adalah seorang pemuka agama, sudah otomatis setiap apa yang diucapkan itu adalah pasti berasal dari si jahat, berasal dari kuasa kegelapan, berasal dari si iblis. Nah, bapak si Zakir Naik kemungkinan adalah kuasa kegelapan. Kenapa? Karena setiap tutur katanya itu tidak bisa dipegang. Setiap apa yang dia sampaikan, ucapan demi ucapan yang keluar dari mulut bibir lidahnya itu selalu mengandung dusta. Nah, sementara Alkitab berkata, ia berkata atas kehendaknya sendiri sebab ia adalah pendusta dan bapa segala dusta. Bapak Ibu, kita tahu siapa bapa segala dusta. Iblis itu lebih hebat daripada orang yang ada di muka bumi ini mengenai dusta, mengenai bohong. Ya, apabila kita melihat seseorang itu bohongnya itu luar biasa, pintar sekali dia berbohong, maka ketahuilah iblis itu sehebat-hebat penipu daya, itu kuasa kegelapan Bapak Ibu. Jadi sehebat apapun manusia dalam tipu daya, maka iblis itu lebih hebat tipu dayanya daripada manusia. Nah, saudaraku para pecinta Chanel Injil HABAGET, kiranya video singkat ini bisa menjadi wawasan bagi kita semuanya dan semakin memantapkan iman percaya kita kepada Adonai YeshuaHamashiakh. Shalom alaikum bisim HAMASHIAKH, salam Aki. Aku kabarkan Injil keselamatan Bapa Yahweh bisim Adonai YeshuaHamashiakh, Ruach Kudus memberkati kita semua. Haleluya, amin, salam murtadin. Saya mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Bapak Ibu yang selalu mendukung Penginjilan HABAGET, baik melalui doa, dana, motivasi maupun support saudara. Terus dukung dalam doa dan bawa HABAGET dalam doa syafaat Bapak Ibu. Oh ya saudaraku, kita punya channel cadangan. Nama channelnya adalah Berita HABAGET. Dukung channel Berita HABAGET dengan cara subscribe, like, dan share. Terima kasih.